Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. Today I want to talk about the news which has been making the round since the snafu which happened with Google's Gemini a couple of weeks ago when Sundar Pichai had to come out and apologize, and his leadership is now being questioned. There's been calls for his resignation. So nothing has happened so far, at least. It only seems to be out in the public realm. Privately, there's nothing seems to be discussed as yet. There's no water to that theory that he's going to be thrown out because of what happened. What basically happened was their flagship Gemini was asked to create an image, and it includes a racist image that was generated with inappropriate labeling of public figures. This led to a backlash, and it's not the first time it's got a slap on the face. Google, it happened with Bard, now with Gemini, it's happening again, and it's throwing a lot of things into question. The background to all of this is artificial intelligence is based on something known as LLM. What is LLM? Well, LLM stands for large language models. It wasn't, it's been something that's been spoken about and worked on in the scientific community and the programming community for a long time. From 1960s or so, it's been something that's been worked on and spoken about, that creating machines that will be able to understand complex human languages. So that's how far back this goes, LLM. And what has happened is companies like Microsoft, companies like Google, companies like Meta, all these big companies have been working on this project in the background. Though publicly we didn't know about it and we have not been purview to this information, they've been working on this for a long time, and they've been making steady progress, or so they've been thinking. Along came ChatGPT and broke the mold, and they had first mover advantage. So then what happened in the tech industry is they went with a new approach known as big fast, break fast approach of developing LLMs that is aimed to securing the first mover advantage. This often results in what happens products which are not fully ready, leading to public errors and biases. And in the current climate, this kind of big, fast, break fast approach is not something conducive, nor is it advisable, but it's something Google has been pressured into doing because simple reason they've had no choice. Because if they had sat any more time on releasing anything, there have been so much pressure on Google, and finally by the time they would have got down to perfecting it and releasing it, public would have lost interest in whatever Google had to offer, because everyone's attention would have moved on and would have moved away from the space. It's already happening slowly. AI, initially when it came in with a bang, people said it's going to immediately replace a lot of jobs, a lot of things are going to change, things are going to disappear, but it's not so. Yes, there has been change. People are using ChatGPT and other AI products, and it is permeating through our society, and you see it being used more and more. But I don't think it has reached a fever pitch we were initially talking about, where there means hordes of layoffs based on this, that people are just going to be switching over completely to AI. AI is taking its time to develop, which is good. Something which is so complex and which can ultimately have a lot of use and power and influence should be slow in progress and should not be something that we should rush into as a society. And us taking a breather is a good thing. But the problem is for something like Google, this is not good news for the simple reason they're not able to get their act together. And even Microsoft Satya Nadella came out in an interview on one of his podcasts, and he said he's not worried about Google because Google have great team. Though the whole thing, when I read it, because I only read the script, I did not hear him speak. So when I read it in my internal voice, it sounded very sarcastic. What he was saying, he was basically saying he's not worried about them. But at the same tone, he went on to say like they have a huge R&D team. They have some of the best talent. They have the best hardware. They have the best of everything. Plus, they have huge access to data. And they've been there for a very long time. So he's like, I'm not worried about that. But if that was the case, then Google and Gemini would be in a different shape. But it's not. Watching Google stumble and fumble in public he must be secretly chuckling inside, because he made a bet with OpenAI and it seems to have paid off. Everyone was scoffing at Bing came out. This was before Satyam and I was there, when Microsoft rebranded itself and launched Bing, and everyone laughed at it, saying no one's going to use Bing, and everyone made lots of fun, and there were many memes about Bing. being this, being that. But Microsoft pivoted, it took its time, licked its wounds, and they came out of this much stronger. And they made tremendous bets. And one of the bets just happened to pay off, which was OpenAI. OpenAI is proof of concept, and it's now the latest iteration, ChatGPT 5.0, where they've tied up with a hardware company and they've actually demoed a robot there all over YouTube, and everyone's talking about it. It's still very much in the infancy. It's more as a prototype of what can come and what can be, but it's still very far from actually coming into our society and being of any use right now. It's the first generation of it. Yes, with greater processing power, greater silicon being available and being created, it might hasten the process and speed it up, where we see these kind of technologies getting into our society in everyday use, where all of us see it happening maybe sooner, but we are still, I would say, miles away from it actually sitting, seeing it walking down the road and doing things for us. But what was impressive was the way ChatGPT is able to evolve and grow and able to synthesize and fit itself with other companies and other products and offer solutions where Google is still trying to find its way. Google was initially the company which was famous for doing this. When they launched the search engine and they launched Google Maps, they launched Android, they made it freely available and they made it quickly permeate into society. And it was interfacing with everything, all technologies was available, was running on pretty much a Google software because Google was giving it for free and Microsoft was saying no, no, no at the time. Bill Gates was there and he was saying, I'm not giving anything for free. While Google is saying, take everything for free. I don't mind as long as you give me access to your data, which is the same kind of principle OpenAI is using. They're allowing a lot of access to their software because their LLM is learning by leaps and bounds by more and more people using it and more interaction is happening. And so far, people have been very forgiving for OpenAI because OpenAI does not have a history. It is considered like a small David, where Google is the Goliath. Google is held to a much higher standard and is expected a lot more from than someone like an OpenAI. And this is a big problem for Google. And how Google is going to approach this is something we'll have to wait and watch. The problem is the inherent complexities of LLMs. These large language models are inherently very complex because the human nature itself is very complex and is very nuanced, and like context of saying something, sarcasm, culture, the intent of you saying or asking something. It's very hard to for a machine to pick this up. Human beings themselves, between ourselves, we seem to lose a lot in translation. So you can imagine what a huge mountain this is for an artificial intelligent thing to understand and go through and be able to apply it. But since the first rudimentary ones were came out in 1960, it has come a long way. But it still remains a challenge, is what I feel. And main challenges which is highlighted in this Gemini thing is training. Biases training is proving to be very difficult, and preventing offensive outputs and inaccuracies proving to be very difficult. So controlling this and having safeguard rails on this is proving to be difficult, because if they put a safeguard rail too high, no one will use Gemini and everyone will prefer using the competitors. If they lower the bar and they lower the safety rails so this LLM can develop, it can lead to a lot of biases and output which is offensive, leading to bigger problems. For Google, it's a double-edged sword. They need to keep the guardrails up because they have a brand to protect. At the same time, they need to lower the guards so extensive training can happen with diverse data sets and sophisticated algorithms, so they can grow. Their LLM can grow. So this is a very tough situation Sundar Pichai has found himself in. And the responsibility which is on his shoulder on this is huge. It has sparked a lot of debates and the adequacy of internal testing teams and what is really happening inside Google, where even Sergey had to come out and speak, apologize, and speak in support of Sundar Pichai and the company. But what is curious is what Microsoft is able to do is they're able to do the same learning and everything without putting a Microsoft label on it. OpenAI, in all due respects, is pretty much a Microsoft company because they own quite a bit of the shares of OpenAI. Sitting in that vantage point, Microsoft is able to perch from there and learn and adapt this technology while not exposing the Microsoft brand till it's ready and comes to a certain shape. and then they can slap on Microsoft's label. That is the strategy, and it seems to be going well for them so far. While on the other hand, Meta, I don't know what they're doing. It's still curious to see what he's going to come out with, Mark Zuckerberg, and we'll have to wait and watch Meta is going to be offering. So this is what's happening. While in India, what is there is there's great promise. If you are an Indian techie and you have skill, something as prompt generation, engineering, anything related to AI, Python, all those things are very useful. And the more you try and learn yourself this and move into this, it's going to be great. The development has to be there, push has to come from the government to incentivize AI platforms in India and encourage homegrown talent and incubation projects in India. If we don't do this, we'll miss the bus, like how we missed buses in other technologies. Then we'll be playing catch up all over again. So it is a pivotal moment for us locally in India, and also it's a pivotal moment for someone like Google. These big giants who we thought can never get knocked down from their perch seem to be wobbling off late. So it's going to be interesting to watch the next few cycles to see what happens with OpenAI, what happens with Microsoft, and what happens with Google. Tomorrow I'll talk about another company. Instead of Nvidia, there's another chip manufacturing company which has had a better run than Nvidia, which I don't know if most of you know about this. So tomorrow's video I'll talk about this. As far as the markets are concerned, things are pretty much running stalemate because there are elections coming, both domestically and internationally, and Fed's policies have to come out. So till all that comes, people are waiting and watching to see what happens. So thanks for watching the program today. I know it was a bit of a different video today. I didn't do the usual talking about a company or a share or something related to investment. It's about what's happening in AI and what's happening in Google. I hope you found this video informative and entertaining as always, and I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye.
It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.